Hi everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be making a card for a colour challenge. It's not something that I normally take part in, but I thought I saw the colours and I liked them, so I thought I would have a go, and I just thought I'd bring you along with me. So the colour challenge is to use Petal Pink, Calypso Coral and Early Espresso. So I've got my ink pads out and I've got the same colours out in cardstock. So Petal Pink, Calypso Coral, Early Espresso. And as soon as I saw the colours, I don't know why, but the Poinsettia Petals just sprang to mind. So I've got the Poinsettia Petals stamp set, and I've also got the dies that go with them. There are more dies than this in this pack. There's another sheet underneath with all the dies in. And I know that red and white poinsettias I think are the most popular, but I started Googling and apparently they can be in yellow and apricot and pink. So, you know, Calypso Coral is a kind of apricotish colour. So that's why I thought I would go along with the Poinsettia Petals. So I started off by stamping the poinsettias and then die cutting them out. And I quite liked that, but then I decided to just literally cut them out without stamping. So the dies not only cut, but they put the embossing detail in as well. So I've cut 3 different sizes in the Petal Pink and 3 different sizes in the Calypso Coral. I've got a piece of basic white thick cardstock, which is UK A4, and I've cut it straight down the middle on the 8 1/4 side, scored and folded, so I've got 2 base cards. I've also got 2 quarter sheets of cardstock in Petal Pink and Calypso Coral, and I've run these through the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. All the products I'm using will all be listed directly underneath the YouTube video with links directly to my shop, and they'll also be in the accompanying blog post as well. And then I thought that I would cut some Early Espresso. So these are 4 1/4 wide. They may have to be cut down because I'm going to cut these 2 pieces of card down, and they're 1 inch wide. And what I've done on this one, I'm not sure how well you'll see it, but I've embossed some lines just to give it a little bit more detail rather than it being plain. And the way that I did that is with my Simply scoreboard. So I put my piece of Early Espresso into the corner of the scoreboard, and using the bigger embossing tool, this is double-ended, it comes with the scoreboard, and using the bigger end so that I get a bigger indentation, I scored at 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch and 3/4, and that gave me 3 embossed lines. So you've got the deboss effect on the side that you've scored into, and then when you turn over you've got the embossed effect. So I think that's the side I'm going to use, the raised side rather than the indented side. So the stylus, I'm not sure how well you see this, fits into the bottom of the scoreboard so you know where it is. So now it's a case of assembling. As I said, these pieces of card are 1/4 sheet of A4, so they fill the whole front of my card, and I want to cut them down. So I'm not sure whether I want a bigger border than I normally use. So I'm going to cut them at the size I would normally cut them for a layer first, but then I may cut them down. So 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. Gives me this look. Or I could cut them shorter and have more of a white border. So I might actually try that. So I might take this down to 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. So let's see how that looks. So that's got a bigger border, which I think I might go with actually. So I'll cut this one the same. So 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. So there are my 2 base cards with my 2 layers. Now, the other thing I've cut is a 2 3/4 inch circle. Now I cut this with my ScanNCut, but you could cut it with any dies that you've got, or if you've got any old punches, you know, anything at all. And these have been cut from vellum. This one is completely plain, and this one I ran through the same embossing folder as I've used on the cardstock, so the Tasteful Textile. So I think I'll use one on one card and one on the other. So I'm going to just kind of dry fit them and see how they look. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the circles on the front, and then I've got the 2 pieces of embossed card. So it's whether do I use the card over the vellum or do I put it underneath the vellum. I think it actually looks better under the vellum, but we'll see. And then I've got my die cuts, so I'm going to glue these together, just using a little bit of wet glue, and I'm going to offset the leaves like so. And then this one I think I'll pop up on a mini dimensional. Just while I've got the wet glue, I'll do this one. So I'll just pop a mini dimensional onto the back of both of these. And then layer them up into the middle like so. So I think what I'll do, I'll put these down. Now, while I've got the wet glue out, I might as well use it. And because the embossing folder has got texture and kind of raised edges, I'll use the wet glue, because the wet glue I know will stick to anything. You don't need a lot, just apply it thinly, and then it won't buckle or warp your cardstock. So that's that. So then I'm thinking I'll put the strip of brown. Now I was going to originally cut this to the width of this matting layer, but I think I'll leave it as it is so it goes across the complete width of the card. So again, because I've embossed and I've got some raised edges, I'll just use my wet glue. I'm not sticking it in the middle. I don't like to put things normally directly in the middle of my cards. So I'm just, you know, below centre. Okay, I'm just going to hold it in place for a few minutes. Don't want to press it too hard because I don't want to push down that embossing I've done with the stylus. And then now I'm going to bring in the circles, and I am going to use actually Seal Plus for this. This is a dry adhesive, just because it will dry quicker on the back of the vellum, and I know it will hold it firmly in place. And I'm not bothered that I can see it through there because it's going to get covered up with the poinsettias. So let's see what we can do. Let's foof up the petals a little bit. I know they'd get squashed in the post, but let's just try and make them look a little bit more dimensional for now. So I'm thinking they're going to go on there like so, and then I cut these leaves from the early espresso, and I'm thinking that these are going to pop in behind. And this layout is a layout that I've used many times before. It's, you know, you'll have probably seen me use it on other designs. For me, you know, simple layout, but it kind of always tends to work. So I'm thinking something like that. Now, I'm not going to put a greeting on these cards at the moment because I don't know whether I'm going to use them as Christmas cards or whether I'm just going to use them as, you know, thank yous or just saying hi or thinking about you. But the process I'm working through is really more for the colour challenge, and the colour challenge was, as I say, to use Petal Pink, Early Espresso and Calypso Coral. I could stamp a greeting on a separate piece of card and kind of lay it across here. I could, you know, put it at the top, whatever, I don't know. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it just as is, without a greeting, but using the colours that are in the challenge. I think I'm also going to stamp inside, and I'm going to decorate an envelope. So I think for now I will just start to put this together. So again, I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals. That way I can tuck the leaves and things in behind. So I'm just going to, these are like the corner pieces of my dimensionals. So I'm just using those up. So I'm going to pop that like so. And then I'm going to be able to tuck these in behind. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue and start tucking these in. I'm going to pop that one in there. That one in there. Now this will dry on the vellum, the wet glue, but you just obviously need to give it a little bit longer. Into there, so it like sits behind the leaves. There, like so. Let me get rid of that. But let me just see if we've got anything in here. So these are the Elegant Faceted Gems, and these are Petal Pink, White and Clear. Just going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, roll out some fresh putty, and you tighten it up to roll the putty out, then you loosen it off and it stops that putty end from spilling out. So I think I will try a big one in the middle like so, and I think I'll put a big one in the middle of this one, and then maybe just a couple of the smaller ones. So I've got kind of 3 in total. So that's how the cards are looking so far. So I think now I'll just do a little bit of stamping on the inside. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Paste mat, and then in the stamp set there are stamps, as I say, that match exactly with the dies, and then there's this one here that looks like it's already multi-layered. These are single, so these are like this one here, so you can stamp them and then you can cut and emboss them. But there's this one here that, as I say, looks as though it's already layered up, so I'm thinking that's this one. So I'm going to mount this one up onto my block, and then this one is predominantly Petal Pink, so I'm going to bring in my Petal Pink, pink this up, and just stamp it in the corner. And then while I've got the ink, I'll do exactly the same, and I'll stamp the envelope. And then I'll just bring in my Simply Chamois and clean off. And I'll bring in Calypso Coral. And I'll bring in the card that's got the Calypso Coral in the background. And again, I will stamp it in the corner like so. And bring in my envelope and do the same. And I'm using my Stampin' Pierce mat because these are photopolymer stamps, which means they've got no inbuilt cushioning. And also I wrap my Stampin' Pierce mat in scrap paper, and that way when I'm stamping like this, where I'm going off the envelope, it just, you know, the excess ink is caught up on the scrap, so I don't get it all over my desk or work surface. So I'll just clean that off. There's card 1 and there's card 2. As I say, is for a colour challenge, and just so you can see, here's the colour challenge. So Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, Early Espresso. Then you open up each card and you've got some stamping inside, and then you've obviously got the detail on the envelope. So I hope you like that project. As I say, all the products will be listed directly under the YouTube video, but also under the video is a link to my blog, which is applelover53.co.uk. Then just click on the blog tab and then you'll find this post, and within the post there'll be picture links of all the products as well. Anyway, please give the video a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.